are they saying that their training is inept as to why they would panic shoot? I don't know. I don't watch it. I think
but the thing about it is this. To me, if I see a situation like that, I can get out the car. I can park the car 10 feet away from that individual. I can get out the car, stand behind the car, and I could send commands to the individual. Put the gun down, put your hands up, and all these type of things. You know, but it seemed like if from the video, the car came speeding, and the car then was like maybe a few feet away from the kid, and it's like the kid had no chance. He had no chance, and people say that, and some police officers say, a lot of police officers says, look, I'm not really trained to shoot you in your hand or shoot you in your leg or shoot the gun out of your hand. I'm trained to defend myself against someone who I think is trying to kill me.
So why do they have shooting lessons?
Well,
I used to train to shoot when I was younger, and you had to specifically aim at a target to get a badge, to get a certificate to say that you could do certain things. Are they saying that this police force doesn't get any of that?
No, they get it, but when they get in those situations, the thing that's happening so quickly, you know, that they're trying to defend themselves. So they gotta
with a 12-year-old with a toy gun.
Well, yeah, they don't know if it's a toy gun, so they're figuring that it's a real gun. So they figure that before he kill me, I kill him.
Nah, you see, to me, that's boys in the hood, right? I'm gonna shoot him before he shoots me. This is a police force. You're trained to observe and see the situation and then deal with it as it comes up. You cannot be saying, "Oh, I'm shooting him first." That's cops and robbers.
Now, I hear what you're saying, but Officer Darren Wilson felt that his life was in jeopardy when he killed Michael Brown. And he said that Michael Brown looked like Hulk Hogan. He looked like Hulk Hogan, and he saw the demon in him. This is quotes now.
Okay.
He saw the demon in Michael Brown. So it appears that he already had a preconceived notion about Michael Brown. And the sad thing is this, that you know, when you try to get your hands around these things and to say, you know, why does it keep happening over and over and over and over? I mean, to me, Ferguson is an example of how the police should not do things, because when Michael Brown got killed, police had riot gears. They were pointing their guns at people. It was like, you know, it was like Baghdad. It's like Baghdad, and say, you know, you folks, you better stay over there, or else, you know, we're going to deal with you. But if the people didn't protest about that situation, right, it would not have changed. So this time, it was a little different. Now, mind you, I don't believe that the people in the community should be burning down the stores. No. I mean,
that's in their own community. It's counterproductive.
It's counterproductive.
Yeah.
You know, that makes absolutely no sense.
That makes no sense. That's what I'm saying. If you have to voice your opinion, but to go and damage your own neighborhood makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
No.
But now we are hearing that the church that was burned down, it's Michael Brown's stepfather's church.
Right.
And it appears to be arson that they burned the church down. And the church was a good distance away from where all the situations were happening.
Okay.
So they are now looking into it, that somebody or some group, you know, may have decided that, you know what, you know, Michael Brown's stepdad is part of this thing. We're going to teach you a lesson, buddy.
That's what it sounds like.
And it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. So here we have a situation where is that the police officer is not being indicted. And then the church, first of all, was being blamed that people in the community was burning down the church.
Right.
So when they actually look at it, they see that something is wrong with this picture.
Yeah.
And they decided that they brought in all those, what do they call them, ATP or whoever it is, and they're doing an arson investigation now.
Okay.
You know, so at least they know that it's not the people in the community who are actually, you know, who burned down the church.
Yeah, well, I doubt if they'll burn their own church.
Yeah, I mean, a church is a kind of a religious, a sanctuary. And I don't think people are like, you know, going around saying we're going to burn down a sanctuary. So whoever the group is, because they actually broke into the church.
Right.
So whoever the group is had already planned what they were going to do ahead of time. And, you know, it's funny. There was a video of a black woman going to a gun store in Ferguson to buy a gun. And the shop owner told her, gave her an excuse why he could not sell her a gun.
Okay.
And he told her that it is his understanding that the police officer is not going to be indicted. It's not going to be indicted. Yeah, the police officer is not going to be indicted. So it was like he had the information
Before the rest of
before everybody had the information. You know, and it appears that a lot of people in Ferguson had that information that the officer was not going to be indicted. You know, and then we're going to play. Let's take a listen to what. I mean, you hear unless you got somewhere to go. I don't know if you. Okay. Let's take a listen to what the officer, Darren Wilson, had to say. He had an interview with a guy by the call of Stephanopoulos. Yeah. He used to be with President Clinton when President Clinton was in office. So he's now in the media. And this guy, Officer Darren Wilson, did an interview with him. So let's take a listen to that interview.
I'd gone to open the door and get out of the car. And when I did so, as I was opening the door, I said, "Hey, come here for a minute." And that's when he turned and said, "What the are you going to do about it?" and slammed my door shut on me.
Slam the door shut?
Yes. I used my door to try and push him back and yell at him to get back. And again, he just pushed the door shut and just stares at me. And as I look back at him, all of a sudden, punches start flying.
He threw the first punch?
Yes. He threw the first one and hit me in the left side of my face.
Because, you know, some of the witnesses have said that they saw you trying to pull him into the car.
That would be against every training ever taught to any law enforcement officer. I don't know what or how many hit me after that. I just know there was a barrage of swinging and grabbing and pulling for about 10 seconds.
And then what?
I had reached out my window with my right hand to grab onto his forearm because I was going to try and move him back and get out of the car to where I'm no longer trapped. And when I felt it, I just felt the immense power that he had. I mean, the way I've described it is it was like a 5-year-old holding on to Hulk Hogan. That's just how big this man was.
Hulk Hogan?
He was very large. Very powerful man.
You're a pretty big guy.
Yeah, I'm above average.
So you try to grab him, but you feel that force.
Yes. And then as I'm holding him, I see him coming back around with his left hand, and it's in the shape like this, and it comes and through the window and just a solid punch to the right side of my face.
So you're still sitting there figuring out, how do I get out of this?
Yes. I mean, the next thing was, how do I survive? Because I didn't know
how
if
do
I
you survive?
Yes, I didn't know if I'd be able to withstand another hit like that.
Where's your gun at that point?
I keep it on my right hip. Mm-hmm. I take it out, and I come up, I point it at him. And when I said, get back or I'm going to shoot you. And then his response, immediately, he grabbed the top of my gun. And when he grabbed it, he said, "You're too much of a to shoot me." And while he's doing that, I can feel his hand trying to come over my hand and get inside the trigger guard and try and shoot me with my own gun. And that's when I pulled the trigger for the first time.
What happened?
Didn't go off. The gun was actually being jammed by his hand on top of the firearm. So I tried again, and again another click. And this time I'm like, this has to work, otherwise I'm going to be dead. He's going to get this gun away from me. Something's going to happen, and I'm going to be dead. So I pull a third time, and it finally goes off.
That was the first time you'd ever used your gun, right?
Yes, it was.
In all your years as a police officer?
Yes.
And then what happens?
He gets even angrier. His aggression, his face, the intensity just increases. And he comes back in at me again. I was looking at him, I was just like, racket, expecting another hit, and I put my gun up and fired. Then I go to exit my car. And when I'm getting out, I use my walkie and I say, "Shots fired, send more cars." And I start chasing after Michael Brown.
Why not stay in the car? He's running away.
Because he's not, my job isn't to just sit and wait. You know, I have to see where this guy goes.
So you felt it was your duty to give chase?
Yes, it was. That's what we were trained to do.
And he runs out of the car, gets about 30 or 40 feet. You can now get out of the car. You start to follow him. And then he stops?
He does stop.
Why?
When he stopped, he turned and faced me. And as he does that, his right hand immediately goes into his waistband, and his left hand is a fist at his side, and he starts charging me.
What did you think when you saw that?
I didn't know. I mean, my initial thought was, is there a weapon in there?
Even though he hadn't pulled something out earlier when he was confronting you?
It was still just the unknown. And again, we're taught to let me see your hands.
As you know, some of the eyewitnesses have said when at that moment when he turned around and put his hands up.
That would be incorrect.
No way?
No way.
So you say he starts to run, does a stutter step, starts to come towards you, and?
At that time, I gave myself another mental check. Can I shoot this guy? Legally, can I? And the question I answered myself was, I have to. If I don't, he will kill me if he gets to me.
Even though he's, 35, 40 feet away?
Once he's coming that direction, if he hasn't stopped yet, when's he going to stop? After he's coming at me and I decided to shoot, I fired a series of shots and paused.
What did you see?
I noticed at least one of them hit him. I don't know where, but I saw his body kind of just flinch a little. And after that, I paused and I again yelled, stop you on the ground, giving him the opportunity to stop. And he ignored all the commands and he just kept running. And so after he kept running again, I shot another series of shots. And at least one of those hit him because I saw the flinch. Well, this time he's about 15 feet away. So I start backpedaling because he's just getting too close and he's still not stopping. He gets to about 8 to 10 feet, and as he does that, he kind of starts to lean forward like he's going to tackle me. And I looked down my barrel of my gun, and I fired, and what I saw was his head, and that's where it went.
Right in the top of his head?
Yes.
You'd never even shot your gun before, and now a man is dead.
After the supervisor got there, I gave him the brief rundown of what had happened.
What'd you tell him?
I told him that I had to shoot somebody. And he asked me why. I said, well, he had grabbed my gun and he had charged me and he was going to kill me.
So you killed him first?
Yes.
Is there anything you could have done differently that would have prevented that killing from taking place?
No.
Nothing?
No.
And you're absolutely convinced when you look through your heart and your mind that if Michael Brown were white, this would have gone down in exactly the same way?
Yes.
No question?
No question.
You and your wife, I don't even know if this word is appropriate anymore. What is your dream going forward?
Like I said, we just want to have a normal life. That's it.
I guess it's hard to have a normal life after someone is lying dead. Something you think that will always haunt you?
I don't think it's a haunting. It's always going to be something that happened.
You have a very clean conscience.
The reason I have a clean conscience is because I know I did my job right. In fact, he said it.
We are back with you. It's in the Village with Anselm and Dalton tonight. Dalton is with me here tonight, on the South Orange Maple Online Radio Experience. Now, that was the interview that Darren Wilson gave on ABC with Stephanopoulos. And the thing that I took out of that is that, we all make mistakes in life. And sometimes you go back and you say, if I had to do it all over again, I would have done this differently. And it's kind of heartbreaking to hear that this guy's telling the Stephanopoulos that if he had to do it all over again, he would do it the same. Just looking back at it now to say that, what? Maybe after I shot him the first 2 times, I might have looked at it a little differently. I wouldn't have chased after him or anything like that. The guy said, if I had to do it all over again, I'd kill that guy again.
Remorse.
No remorse, man. No remorse. I mean, he says, and that's the kind of crazy part that you couldn't step back and say, oh, man, I was trying to defend myself. I took a life, but looking back at it now, giving myself the months, the weeks